Hi, today we will learn about diagrams in statistics. Before understanding in depth about the diagrams and its types, let us understand what are the differences between diagram and a chart. The first difference is a diagram can be drawn on a plain sheet of paper or a graph sheet, whereas a chart can be drawn on graph sheet only. We cannot establish any mathematical relationship between the variables in case of a diagram, whereas we can establish a relationship between the variables in chart using a chart. We can take examples of charts like the chart representing law of diminishing marginal utility, the chart representing law of demand, law of supply. All these things are examples of charts. There we are establishing the relationship between the variables. And the next difference is in a diagram, we can represent categorical variables or categorical data can be represented using a diagram, whereas we can represent the time series data in the form of graphs in case of a chart. Next, we have in diagram, it is not that helpful in statistical analysis, whereas a chart is helpful in establishing a statistical analysis or arriving at conducting a statistical analysis and arriving at some conclusions. Next, let us understand in the diagram, one type of diagram is bar diagrams. Let us understand in brief about the bar diagrams. The bar diagrams can be of different types. First one is simple bar diagram, multiple bar diagram, subdivided bar diagram, percentage bar diagram, and deviation bar diagram. Let us understand about each and every type of bar diagram in detail. First, let us go for simple bar diagram. Simple bar diagram looks like this. The size of the bar or the height of the bar will determine or tell the magnitude of that particular variable. Here, simple bar diagram is used to represent data involving one variable. If we take example here, this simple bar diagram is showing us the data of the fruits, which is the nicest fruit. About that, the data is shown here. The magnitude of grapes is very less, whereas the magnitude of blueberry is high. By seeing this diagram, we can easily understand that. The next type of diagram is subdivided bar diagram. In subdivided bar diagram, unlike simple bar diagram, here we can represent more than one variable in a single bar. Here, if you see this example, I have shown here the 4 variables or the marks of 4 subjects, that is in zoology, botany, chemistry, and physics, and how many students have got those marks. Here in this subdivided bar diagram, the 4 subjects data is represented in a single bar. So it is used to represent the data where the total magnitude is divided into different components. That's why it is also called as component bar chart or stacked chart. The next one we have is multiple bar diagram. It looks like this. In the previous type of bar diagram, that is subdivided bar diagram, we have seen that all the variables are shown in the same bar. Instead of showing all the variables in the same bar, if we are showing them on different bars, then it is called as a multiple bar diagram. We are using multiple bars for each variable. In this example, there are 3 variables, that is sales, gross profit, and net profit. All the 3 variables are shown on different lines. So this is how we represent a multiple bar diagram. So multiple bar diagrams represent more than 2 sets of interrelated data, which can be represented in a simple and easily understandable manner. And it is extremely useful when huge amount of data is to be represented in a more simple manner. The next type of diagram we have is percentage bar diagram. This also we can compare with our subdivided bar diagram. In the subdivided bar diagram, also on the same bar, we have taken more than one variable. Here also we are taking more than one variable on a single bar. But the only difference here is, in case of subdivided bar, we are taking the absolute values. That is the exact values actually there we are taking. But in case of percentage bar diagram, we will convert those values into percentages and then represent the data. This percentage bar diagram is useful when we need to compare the variables which are not of same nature. So, a subdivided bar diagram which is shown on a percentage basis is called as a percentage bar diagram. This is also more useful to make comparison where the components holding the difference of total constants. And the next one we have is deviation bar diagram. Deviation bar diagram looks like this. When we have both positive and negative values in the data, then it is recommendable to use this deviation bar diagram. In this deviation bar diagram, you can see on the right side you find some bars and to the left side you find some bars. So when you have to represent both positive and negative values in the same diagram, then we will go for deviation bar diagram. So some values run to the right, some values run to the left. The two charts report on the same categories, but the different type of respondent groups of the same or other variable. So this is what a deviation bar diagram is. So hope you all understood what are the differences between diagram and a chart, and what are the various types of bar diagram.